Chapter 11 Fallen Eight-Winged Angel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiaohan, Xiaoxue, everybody knows that in the Soul Master world, the highest innate soul power you can have is level 10. But our clan is blessed by our divine ancestors, so for us, level 10 isn't the highest, it's just the starting point for awakening the Seraphim martial soul. After you hit level 10, we, the Seraphim, are guaranteed to have exceptional talent. Qiandaolu paused, signaling them to get ready. Qianrenhan nodded slightly. It was expected. During the Qianxuan spirit Douluo era, Qianxunji was the pope, handling all the important stuff, and didn't become a titled Douluo until he was 50. Back then, he'd only absorbed 2 angel soul bones. Tang Xiao, on the other hand, broke through to title Douluo at the age of 53 and, as leader of the Haotian sect, had gathered 6 soul bones through tough training. If Qianxunji's innate soul power hadn't been over level 10, how could he have been a titled Douluo before Tang Xiao when he trained way less and had fewer soul bones? Yu Xiaoan's claim that Seraph spirit masters had to reach level 20 innate soul power upon awakening was just plain wrong. The book said that their awakened soul power could reach a max of level 20. He probably just copied it down wrong, which, let's be honest, wouldn't be surprising. Boom! A surge of immense soul power erupted from Qiandaolu, and instantly, the Seraphim materialized behind him. Roar! A crocodile's bellow echoed through the hall, and golden crocodile Douluo's eyes blazed. His whole body was encased in fine golden scales, his white hair twisted into thick horns, his hands morphed into dark golden claws, and a massive, scaled and spined tail swept behind him, the golden crocodile king, a super martial spirit. Screech! Another piercing cry rang out, and a wan bird, with its iridescent blue plumage and an aura of noble frost, materialized. This was the martial spirit of Qin Douluo, one of the handsome faces of the enshrinement hall. Roar! A lion's roar thundered, and the flaming lion appeared, seizing Guanling Douluo's Guanling divine bow. Boom! 2 thick staffs slammed into the ground. Covered in intricate patterns and each adorned with a coiling dragon, they were the Liuqi martial spirit coiling dragon sticks, sealing the ancient beast heaven inside, awakening the holy golden dragon. Except for golden crocodile Douluo, the 6 major enshrinement's martial spirits all had some connection to fire, and shared the 2 sacred attributes of the Seraphim. And these martial spirits were the best of the best. The magic circles beneath Qianrenhan and Qianrenxue flared to life, bathing them in golden light. They closed their eyes, seemingly transported to a realm of pure comfort. Qianrenxue was the first to open her eyes. A brilliant golden light shone from them, and the golden hairs on the back of her head seemed to glow. Behind her, a seraphim, a smaller version of Qiandaolu's, appeared, adding even more light to the Douluo Palace. Seraphim. Xiaoxue has awakened. Now only Xiaohan is left. Qiandaolu nodded slightly, his gaze shifting to Qianrenhan, whose eyes remained closed. The 6 major enshrinements, Qianxunji, and Qianrenxue all waited with anticipation. Suddenly, Qianrenhan's eyes snapped open. His original blue pupils had turned blood red, and his long golden hair paled at an alarming rate. A terrifying darkness and a chilling cold emanated from his body. This soul power was so pure and so dark that even the angelic soul power of Qianrenxue and Qiandaolu was being eroded. Not to mention the 6 major enshrinements. A dark angel martial spirit with 8 wings materialized behind Qianrenhan. Fallen angel, 8 wings, extreme darkness, a darkness that outstrips even the Seraphim's extreme light, and extreme cold. Qiandaolu was stunned. He immediately pulled Qianrenxue behind him, trying to shield her from the darkness. The opposite of light is darkness, and while other soul masters could probably deal with this, it would be pure torture for a Seraphim soul master. Qiandaolu unleashed his own soul power, forcing back Qianrenhan's evil energy. Qianrenhan's ultimate attributes were stronger, meaning his soul power density was higher, but Qiandaolu had more total soul power. Father, what should we do? Qianxunji asked, his expression conflicted. He looked at Qianrenhan, his face now transformed, evil and handsome as a woman, and his body more slender. His eyes no longer showed any kindness, and his seraphim spirit was now releasing hostility. During the silence, Qianrenhan looked at his pale skin and grey hair, and muttered to himself, could it be that the eight-winged fallen angel absorbed the power of Bibi Dong's twin evil spirits? It's evil. We'll test the innate soul power first. DouluoDalu said, his eyes no longer kind. He pulled out a crystal ball even bigger than the one in the martial soul awakening hall. Xiaoxue, you go first. Brother. Qian Renxue glanced at Qianrenhan, who looked like a stranger. She felt a flicker of distaste, but Bibi Dong's beatings never dampened Qian Renxue's enthusiasm, so naturally martial arts couldn't have much influence. Hurry up, DouluoDalu said sternly. I know, Grandpa. Qian Renxue placed her hand on the crystal ball. It immediately shone, with no trace missing. Level 20. Full innate soul power at level 20. Relief flooded DouluoDalu's face. He had been heartbroken when he saw Qianrenhan's eight-winged fallen angel. 8 wings were an evolution of the 6-winged angel, surpassing the ancestors. Qianrenhan had a real shot at inheriting the divine ancestor position, but why did it have to be a fallen angel, the polar opposite of the angel? Thankfully, Qian Renxue's talent had reassured him. Innate level 20. She was the first of the Qian family, even better than his level 19. And Qianxunji? Well, let's just say that becoming the Pope wouldn't make Qianxunji a contra. Calming down, DouluoDalu waved his hand. Everyone, Jier, take Xue outside. Xiaohan, stay. The 6 major enshrinements left without a word. Qianxunji followed, leading the puzzled Qian Renxue. The door closed, leaving only DouluoDalu and Qianrenhan in the Douluo hall. Chapter 12 Qian Renxue gets slapped. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside Douluo hall, everyone was on edge. Fallen angels were the antithesis of the angel clan, natural enemies. Dad, everyone, Grandpa, what's wrong with my brother? Qian Renxue asked, worry etched on her face. Qianxunji forced a smile. Don't worry, Xiaoxue. As long as Xiaohan isn't consumed by the martial spirit and doesn't stray down a dark path, he'll be fine. Inside the hall, DouluoDalu stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his expression grave. Xiaohan, do you understand what martial spirit you've awakened? Fallen angel, Qianrenhan replied, the light from the angel statue making him deeply uncomfortable. DouluoDalu gestured toward the wall behind the statue. Xiaohan, do you remember the 16 words inscribed there? Qianrenhan, blessed with a photographic memory, thought hard, dredging up the memory he'd long suppressed. With a sharp blade in hand, he can punish the wicked, protect the realm, and eradicate evil. Xiaohan, our angel clan has always shouldered the responsibility of eliminating evil soul masters and preserving peace. If seraphim are the ultimate foes of evil, then your fallen angel is the seraphim's ultimate weakness. Your martial soul embodies a darkness, coldness, and evil that surpasses even the seraphim. DouluoDalu's gaze was intense. Is Grandpa going to kill me? Then get it over with. Qianrenhan's tone was indifferent. He couldn't escape extreme Douluo if he wanted to. Besides, they had given him life and raised him. He owed them a debt that could only be repaid by death. I'm not that short-sighted. Fallen angels are enemies of the seraphim, but the goal is eradicating the wicked, dealing with rebels and evil soul masters who prey on innocence to fuel their power. If you ever become an evil soul master, I won't let family ties stay my hand. I will personally strike you down, regardless of the reason. DouluoDalu leaned in, his eyes inches from Qianrenhan's, conveying the depth of his resolve. Fine. Give me the crystal ball. Qianrenhan held out his hand, eager to test his soul power and get out of the Douluo hall. DouluoDalu handed over the crystal ball, turning away as if uninterested in the outcome, but his mental power was constantly scanning him. Qianrenhan placed his hand on the ball, and it erupted with the same intensity of light as it had for Qian Renxue. He frowned slightly, disappointed. 20. He'd hoped for more. So, 8 wings aren't that much better than 6. Still first-class god territory. Emerging from the Douluo hall, he found everyone waiting. Qian Renxue rushed forward. "Brother, what's your innate soul power?" Looking at her concerned face, and remembering the 6 great enshrinements, DouluoDalu, and Qianxunji, alienated by his martial spirit, a flicker of warmth kindled in his heart. This little girl's affection for him was stronger than he'd thought. He smiled. "The same as mine." Qianxunji pressed. "Xiaohan, what did father say to you?" "Go ask him yourself," Qianrenhan replied coolly, echoing Qianxunji's earlier detachment. Qianxunji returned to the Pope's hall, the 6 great enshrinements to their enshrinement hall. Qian Renxue grabbed Qianrenhan's arm, excited. "Brother, we both have such amazing talent. Do you think Mom will finally accept us? I even got her a special gift, made with extra care." She activated her soul guide, revealing a wooden comb made of fragrant wood. The scent had a calming effect when used. Inscribed on it were the words Mom Xiaoxue and a simple, heartfelt symbol. "I don't know," Qianrenhan replied, thinking of Bibi Dong. He hadn't seen her in 3.5 years, having lived in the enshrinement hall. He needed to move quickly, or the angel statue's radiance would kill him. "I believe she will." After packing, Qian Renxue pulled Qianrenhan along, but 300 meters away from their destination, Qianrenhan stopped. "Xiaoxue, go on ahead. I need to use the restroom." "Hurry back, brother." Qian Renxue didn't suspect him and continued towards Bibi Dong's place. Xiaoxue, only the most painful memory can make you stop thinking about me. Waiting for Qian Renxue to turn the corner, Qianrenhan walked slowly toward Bibi Dong. He didn't know where she lived, but Qian Renxue's angelic aura pointed the way. In the Holy Maiden Hall, Bibi Dong was meditating. To kill Qianxunji and consume the angel's soul, she needed to grow stronger. The door burst open. Qian Renxue walked in. "Mom," that it was the loudest she had ever said Mom, even louder than the first time they'd met. If you listened carefully, you could even hear the trembling in it, the fear after being thrown out by Bibi Dong for 3.5 years. "What are you doing here again? How many times have I told you not to call me Mom?" Bibi Dong snapped, losing control. "Mom, I've awakened my martial spirit. I have an innate soul power of 20, and this is my gift." Qian Renxue lowered her head, trembling as she held out the gift box and released her seraphim martial soul. When the seraphim appeared, Bibi Dong's pupils widened, and blood vessels filled her eyes. Qianxunji's face superimposed over Qian Renxue's, and the harrowing experience in the secret room resurfaced. "Mother," Qian Renxue wondered why Bibi Dong didn't respond. She usually blasted her away with her soul power. Could it be? Qian Renxue raised her head, hope blooming, and saw a white palm rushing toward her face. Smack, the sound of the slap echoed. Qian Renxue's small body flew out of the Saintess Hall, her gift flying with her. She hit the ground and rolled, stopping at Qianrenhan's feet. The gift box clattered to the ground, and the delicate wooden comb fell beside it. The sound brought Bibi Dong back to reality. She looked at her right hand, then at the comb with the inscription Mom Xiaoxue. A hint of regret flickered in her eyes. "Does that hurt?" Qianrenhan looked at the bright red mark on Qian Renxue's face, his eyes now devoid of contempt. He knew what Qian Renxue had gone through the past 3.5 years. He had felt sorry for her once or twice, but after that, he rarely gave it a thought. Chapter 13 Traveling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Whoa, wow, Qian Renxue scrambled to her feet, tears streaming down her face, quickly turning into full-blown sobs. She was crying harder than the time she'd thrown a 1-year-old Qianrenhan's toy and he'd wailed. "Brother, I don't want Mom. I don't want her anymore. I don't have a mother." Qian Renxue cried, throwing herself into Qianrenhan's arms. "I get it," Qianrenhan said softly as he picked her up with one arm. The soul guide in his other hand shimmered, and his sword materialized. He looked up at Bibi Dong, his expression cold. Bibi Dong met his gaze. It had been 3.5 years since they'd last looked at each other, and her heart churned. This can't be, this creature, white hair, bloodshot eyes, and a dark aura, this can't be Han. Qianrenhan aimed his sword at the comb and slashed. The heart symbol with Mom Xiaoxue engraved on it and the comb itself snapped in two. With that done, Qianrenhan turned and headed back to their room. Bibi Dong reached out, wanting to call after him, but she realized she didn't even know his name. All she remembered was Qianxunji's scream. She hadn't known that each generation of the Qian family had its own naming convention, like Qianrenhan or Xiaohan. Back in their room, Qianrenhan gently placed Qianrenxue on the bed. She'd stopped sobbing, but her big eyes were red and swollen, her face streaked with tears. "Heal the marks on your face," he told her. "My soul power won't help, and it'll probably hurt you." The 8-winged fallen angel martial soul had 3 supreme attributes: extreme darkness, extreme cold, and extreme evil. Darkness devoured everything. If the Seraphim's realm was one of purification, his was one of consumption. Qian Han also embodied extreme ice, but his was tainted with evil, hence the name. And the evil granted him the ability to manipulate and control hearts, a stark contrast to the Seraphim's sacred flames, which eradicated evil thoughts. In a straight fight, a fallen angel and a regular angel with the same number of wings were evenly matched because their powers countered each other. But when it came to a brawl, the fallen angel always came out on top. Their soul-devouring ability made them virtually tireless, and they were never afraid of a drawn-out fight, something angels couldn't handle. "Brother, that woman isn't my mother," Qianrenxue whispered. "I don't have a mother." Qianrenhan stroked her hair. "Yeah, I know. Brother, I want you to teach me swordsmanship, okay?" she asked. Qianrenhan nodded. "It's time for you to grow up. Brother," she continued, "we're really close to the Douluo Palace. Does it bother you being here? Get some sleep. You'll feel better after a good nap. You'll forget everything that happened," Qianrenhan said, avoiding the question. He tucked her in, something he hadn't done in 6 years. Qianrenxue said sadly, "Brother, can you sleep with me? Just this once?" "Dad said that after we awakened our martial souls, we'd be grown up and have to sleep in separate rooms. We've never slept together before." Qianrenhan sighed and pulled back the covers. Seeing how badly she'd been hurt, he decided to humor her this once, just to ease her pain. But this would be the last time. They lay side by side in the bed. Qianrenhan closed his eyes, thinking back to the past. This was the first time they'd shared a bed since he'd learned to roll over as a baby. After rolling out of bed too many times, he made it clear he didn't want to sleep with her anymore, so they'd put an extra bed next to hers. Suddenly, Qianrenxue giggled. "Brother, you're so pretty now. If you put on a dress, no one would ever guess you're a boy. You'd probably be even prettier than me." Qianrenhan frowned, turned to look at her, and gently tapped her forehead. "Sleep," he warned. "One more peep out of you, and I'm leaving." Okay, I'm sleeping," Qianrenxue mumbled, wrapping her arms around him, closing her eyes, and snuggling against his chest. That girl, he thought. She said that just to get a rise out of me, Qianrenhan looked down at the sleeping Qianrenxue, feeling helpless. She was only 6 years old, after all. Back in the Douluo hall, Qianxunji returned, his face stormy. After learning about Qianrenxue, he'd stormed over to the Saintess Hall and had a shouting match with Bibi Dong. Of course, he never had a chance against her. Bibi Dong just dared him to hit her, but he didn't know whether to do it or not. He felt utterly powerless. "Father. What's the matter?" Qiandaolu looked at Qianxunji with disgust. His good-for-nothing son was truly useless, no talent, and he couldn't even control his own wife. He'd even managed to create a fallen angel. If Qianrenxue hadn't lived up to his expectations, reaching innate full soul power at level 20, he would have considered abandoning them. Qianxunji said, Father, you know about Xiaoxue, right? I plan to take Xiaoxue and Xiaohan out into the world for some experience. I want to show them the state of the two empires, to help heal Xiaoxue's emotional scars and to set Xiaohan on the right path. Hearing this, Douluo looked at Qianxunji with approval. It was rare for his worthless son to have a good idea. The potential danger of fallen angels was significant. Getting their first and second soul rings during this trip could establish correct values and heal Qianrenxue's trauma. It would kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Come with me. Douluo and Qianxunji arrived at the Elders' Hall, the largest building in the Pope's Hall, and the seat of the Wuhun Hall's power. Inside the towering domed building, a wide hall opened up. The hollow dome rose nearly 100 feet, divided into 3 floors, each with 10 rooms, except in extreme circumstances. The first requirement to live here was a soul power above level 90, making one a title Douluo or stronger. This was where the Wuhun Palace's top dogs resided, and even the Pope was bound by them. Ultimately, it came down to strength. If the elders living here united, they could destroy a city in a single day. No exaggeration, the Presbyterian Hall could restrain the Pope, and the Enshrinement Hall could even remove the Pope. Douluo spoke, and 2 figures in golden armor appeared before them. The one on the left was tall and thin, while the one on the right had short red hair, was of average height, and had a muscular build with an ugly appearance. Greetings, Great Consecration, Your Majesty the Pope. P.S. Next, the author will describe the protagonist's character. Please treat it rationally. The table of contents and title clearly state that the fallen angel and the virgin are entered by mistake. Chapter 14: The 10 Core Competencies of Wuhun. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Qianxunji identified them, Elder Snake Spear and Elder Atlantis. The Pope, Xiaoxue, and Xiaohan will have guardians assigned for their training, Douluo stated calmly. 2 innate souls at level 20. They're the most talented the Qian family has ever seen, and most likely to inherit the angel title. Their safety is paramount. Though Snake Spear and Atlantis have only just broken through level 91 and are on the lower end of the title Douluo power scale, they're extraordinary. Atlantis's martial spirit can both absorb and release poison, making him a walking weapon of mass destruction, potentially stronger than even the Jade Phosphor Snake Emperor in a real fight. Plus, Snake Spear is a hybrid weapon/beast spirit. If they can't win, they can lead the kids to safety. Qianxunji nodded. Understood, Father. How about I let the saint handle affairs at the Heavenly Martial Spirit Hall while I'm away? Her strength has already reached Contra. Qianxunji paused. The search for the 100,000-year-old blue-silver emperor continued. It was the 9th soul ring he intended for Bibi Dong. Despite everything, they had gone from master and apprentice to husband and wife. He wanted to try again, capture the blue-silver emperor for her, and maybe win back her heart. Besides, letting Bibi Dong become pope would be a good transition before passing the title to Qian Renxue. As for Qianrenhan, the fallen angel, he wasn't even a consideration. Alright, Douluo agreed with a slight nod. In the Pope's palace, Qianrenhan gathered his belongings. After Qianrenxue fell asleep, he came to find a new room. The Hall of Enshrinement was too close to the angel statue. It was too much, he couldn't sleep. Even though everyone had become distant after his martial spirit awakened, his rank and status remained unchanged. The entire martial spirit hall was his home, he should be able to sleep anywhere he wanted. Just then, Bibi Dong approached, a beautiful figure in purple. Clearly, she was looking for Qianrenhan. He glanced at her, then prepared to ignore her. When they were only a yard apart, Bibi Dong saw that Qianrenhan's eyes were still averted and he showed no sign of stopping. A little panicked, she still said calmly, "How is Qianrenxue?" Qianrenhan just kept walking, the sound of his footsteps fading without a pause. You! Bibi Dong turned, watching him retreat, a flicker of annoyance in her eyes. A soul guide lit up in her hand. She walked over, placed a book in front of him, and said indifferently, this knowledge might be helpful to your future cultivation. Bibi Dong left after practically shoving the book into Qianrenhan's hands. She worried that his lack of understanding would make her look bad. Bibi Dong knew that Qianrenhan's martial spirit was not a seraph, but a fallen angel, the sworn enemy of seraphs. Could this darkness represent the Rakshasa? The auras are indeed quite close. Bibi Dong hoped to take advantage of this period of alienation to curry favor with Qianrenhan. After all, they were mother and son. She wanted to draw him to her side, turning him against the angel family. So, asking about Qian Renxue was a means to an end. Qianrenhan stopped, frowning slightly. He looked at the book in his hand. It was wrapped in a delicate cover, without a single wrinkle or speck of dust, clearly well cared for. He figured he'd just return it. But then, a few words on the cover caught his eye: the 10 core competencies of Wuhun, * might as well take a look. Even if it was a useful book, Qianrenhan wouldn't have read it if Bibi Dong gave it to him. But the title grabbed his attention: * the 10 core competencies of Wuhun *. 1, the source of martial souls. You can only inherit the more powerful martial soul from your parents. In rare cases, you might inherit 2 *. 2. Martial souls can mutate, sometimes for better, but usually for worse. * 3. Soul power awakening. If you awaken a martial soul with soul power, you can become a soul master. The amount depends on the quality of the martial soul. * 4. Obtaining soul rings. Soul rings come from soul beasts, which are classified by age: 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, and 100,000 years. Their rings are white, yellow, purple, black, and red. * 5. Every soul master should have a development direction: power attack, control, agility attack, auxiliary, and defense. * 6. Soul ring bottleneck. Even without a soul ring, you can still improve your soul power to a certain extent, but you can't advance to the next level. Getting a soul ring unlocks everything. * 7. Martial souls are beast or weapon types. Beast martial souls are stronger before level 70. After the true form awakening, weapon martial souls are stronger. * 8. There are no useless martial souls, only useless soul masters. Find the right way, and you'll become a peak expert. * 9. Soul bones. Choose the soul bone that matches your attributes to maximize its power. * 10. Alien fusion of martial souls. With cooperation, different martial souls can fuse to create powerful skills. * Finally, from the invincible theoretician Yu Shaojiang. After reading it all, Qianrenhan's expression remained indifferent. He walked to a trash can and tossed the book in. If Bibi Dong gave a gift, he'd either return it or throw it away. To a member of a great family, points 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9 are useless. Points 2 and 7 are theoretically lacking. It barely earns a 50%. Point 8 is just wrong. Point 10 is unproven, but probably wrong. Except for food-based soul masters, martial souls have attributes, and you can't just combine different powers. Overall, it's maybe useful to grassroots soul masters with no background, but to Qianrenhan, who can go to the Wuhun City Library whenever he wants, it's trash. Even if 10 points were correct, the last 2 sentences would still guarantee it ended up in the trash. Chapter 15: Suitable Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Qianrenhan left, Bibi Dong emerged from a hidden corner. Seeing what he'd done, the fondness and maternal affection she felt plummeted. The birth of the fallen angel had soured everything. Yu Xiaoan's 10 core competencies of Wuhun was a legendary piece of work. Bibi Dong treasured it, keeping it safe with a fine cover. Qianrenhan tossing it aside like garbage. It wasn't just an insult to Yu Xiaoan's hard work, it was treating her feelings like trash. 3 days later, 2 luxurious carriages headed towards the main gate of Wuhun City. Qianxunji, along with Snake Spear and Abak Douluo, occupied one, while Qianrenhan, Qian Renxue, and a maid rode in the other. The angelic aura radiating from Qianxunji made Qianrenhan uncomfortable. Obviously, the two couldn't stand being around each other for too long. And it was pretty clear who Qian Renxue preferred to be with. So, what kind of soul ring are you planning to get, big brother? Qian Renxue asked. Obviously, a soul beast that best matches my martial soul's attributes. The better the beast, the better. Qianrenhan chuckled. Sis, the books say only the most suitable soul bones let soul masters unlock their true power. It's the same with soul rings. Once you absorb it, it merges with your body and your martial soul. Only the right attributes will make controlling and powering up the ring easier and stronger, and help keep your martial soul at its peak. Qian Renxue nodded. So, when our relatives' martial souls weaken, is it because they chose the wrong soul rings? Not necessarily. Maybe Mom's constitution isn't strong enough to handle the Seraphim's power, forcing it to degenerate. A flicker of frustration crossed Qianrenhan's eyes. Weakening a martial soul is easy, evolving one is hard. Even with Bibi Dong's help, his 8-winged fallen angel could only reach the peak of a first-tier god. To evolve it further, he'd need a super-powerful soul beast, or the ice and fire eyes. How much could she really help him? After traveling for half a day, the group entered the Star Do forest, aiming to get the first 2 soul rings for Qianrenhan and Qian Renxue. The 2 elders started searching and quickly returned with a bright saber-toothed tiger, just over 700 years old, already dead from the beating. Bright saber-toothed tigers are top-tier light attribute soul beasts. Seraphim are all about light, holiness, and high-quality flames, making it an ideal choice of attribute. Again, it's easy to fall from grace and hard to evolve. Father, elders, I'm aiming for a 1000-year dark-type soul beast for my first ring, Qianrenhan announced, glancing at the tiger. Starting training at 1 year old, with the help of natural treasures, medicinal baths, and his more powerful fallen angel, his physical condition was several times stronger than Qian Renxue's. He had the nerve to challenge a 1000-year soul ring. Qianxunji was shocked. Xiaohan, a 1000-year soul ring is on a different level than a 100-year one. It's too dangerous. Qianrenhan's voice was calm but confident. I don't have the blessing Grandpa had to extend the ring's life, so I'm choosing a higher level one. I'm confident I can handle it. After a moment's hesitation, Qianxunji waved his hand. Elders, go capture a 1000-year dark-type soul beast. Snake Spear and Abak Douluo set off again. They spotted human-faced demon spiders and crypt demon spiders along the way, but after a quick look, moved on. Despite the spiders' evil nature, their poisonous attributes were unsuitable. While the elders searched, Qianxunji handed Qian Renxue a dagger. Xiaoxue, kill this beast for your first soul ring. Dad, can I wait until my brother absorbs his first soul ring before I decide? Qian Renxue replied. She might be obedient and sensible, but she was still fiercely competitive. If Qianrenhan absorbed a 1000-year soul ring and she took a 700-year one, the power gap would be so wide, even she couldn't accept it, even from her brother. Qianrenhan caught Qian Renxue's look and a hint of approval flashed in his eyes. The whole point of throwing out the 700-year-old bright saber-toothed tiger was to push Qian Renxue to aim higher. His silly sister hadn't disappointed him. Alright, Qianxunji said. He'd guessed Qian Renxue's intention. He poured soul power into the bright saber-toothed tiger to prevent it from dying of its injuries. After a while, a 3-meter-long, pitch-black soul beast, resembling a cross between a lion and a tiger with strange purple markings, was dropped in front of them. Qianxunji was surprised. A netherworld liger. Netherworld ligers were rare hybrids, born from lions and tigers crossbreeding and belonging to the top tier of dark-type soul beasts. He hadn't expected them to find one. Around 11 to 1200 years, Xiaohan, Qianxunji prompted, waiting for Qianrenhan's decision. Qianrenhan drew his sword, his eyes showing no pity. He'd eaten so much soul beast meat over the years. To him, they were no different from Blue Star's livestock, either food or profit. And this would bring both strength and a full stomach. The sword sliced across the netherworld liger's neck. Blood spurted out, and a purple soul ring floated from the corpse. The entire process was swift and efficient. Qianrenhan immediately sat cross-legged, released his fallen angel martial soul, and began to absorb the soul ring. Qianxunji and the others watched him closely, ready to stop the process if anything went wrong. Half an hour later, Qianrenhan opened his eyes, a 1,000-year soul ring circling him. "Xiaohan, how do you feel?" Qianxunji asked, surprised. Qianrenhan frowned slightly. "It wasn't that great, honestly. This 1,000-year ring was just a little short of my limit. I felt some pain at first, but not much afterward." Qianxunji and the elders all wanted to roll their eyes. "A 1,000-year soul ring for your first, and you're not satisfied?" Qian Renxue cheered. "Big brother is amazing. Dad, I want a 1,000-year soul ring too." Qianxunji nearly choked. "No. Why not? Xiaoxue, you aren't as strong as your brother. You can't take that kind of risk. Stick to a 100-year ring." Qianxunji's voice was firm. He couldn't let Qian Renxue be reckless. If something happened to her, DouluoDalu would probably kill him. A few hundred years. The 8th test of the angel's 10,000 soul rings has increased the number of years. It's nothing. Xiaoxue, aim for something less. If you can't do 1,000, then 900, Qianrenhan said, ruffling Qian Renxue's hair. He'd gotten a rough idea of her power from seeing Bibi Dong. While it was close to his, 1,000 years was too risky. Chapter 16 The Suffering of the Common People. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Alright, Qian Renxue said, her voice serious. Dad, I want a 900-year spirit ring. Qianxunji sighed. Okay. After another familiar process, Qian Renxue settled in to absorb the excellent light-attributed spirit ring. Barely 900 years old, Qianxunji watched her, injecting a bit of his energy as he asked, Xiaohan, how many years are you aiming for with your second spirit ring? Qianrenhan replied, I need to gauge my current strength first. I'll have to fight someone to figure out the right level for the next one. I'm guessing you brought Xiaoxue and me out here for more than just a look at how the common folk live, right? Still as sharp as ever. Qianxunji nodded slightly. Training wasn't just about observing. They needed to display the Qian family's new generation of geniuses from the spirit hall through combat, projecting the hall's might. A flicker of anticipation crossed Qianxunji's eyes. He calculated the timing, it should be about right. Meanwhile, in the main hall of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, an old white-haired man sat on the throne. This was Yu Longchen, the current clan leader and the biological father of Yu Yuanjun. The younger generation's competition is in 7 days. Father, are we accepting Qianxunji's challenge? Yu Yuanjun asked from the side. He was 49 years old and, though destined to die in battle at 75, he hadn't yet become a title Douluo. Yu Longchen snorted, his aged tone laced with undiminished dominance. Qianxunji thinks he can use the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan to boost the Spirit Hall's reputation. He's dreaming. We accept, of course. We are dragons, Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Submission isn't in our vocabulary. Understood, Father. Yu Yuanjun replied, feeling the martial spirit within him stir with draconic pride, his blood running hot. Yuanjun, I don't have much time left. You must break through to title Douluo as soon as possible. Otherwise, our Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's position as one of the 3 upper sects will be in jeopardy. Yu Longchen sighed softly, placing a withered hand on Yu Yuanjun's shoulder. I will carry on the name of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan and Thunder Douluo, just like you, Father. Yu Yuanjun replied, unable to help but look at the aging Yu Longchen, whose body emitted a faint aura of death. His eyes welled with tears. The next day, in the Baroque Kingdom, Casino Province, Soto City, before dawn, a man carrying a pole laden with fresh fruits and vegetables walked through the streets of Soto City. Simple farmers from the countryside set up their stalls, each panting and sweating, exhausted. Soto City didn't offer designated stalls. Farmers relied on arriving early to claim their space. The more crowded the stall, the greater the potential profits. These farmers woke up earlier than the chickens, facing the dangers of walking in the dark, all for their livelihood. Atop a tall building, Qianxunji, Qianrenhan, and Qianrenxue stood, flanked by Snake Spear and Agouti, acting as guards. They watched the farmers bustling below, a look of pity crossed Qianrenxue's face. After obtaining her spirit ring yesterday, Qianxunji had taken them to a small rural village for a meal. Most people lived in thatched huts, or simple wooden and earthen houses. Their main course was blue-silver grass roots, with barely any meat. Qianrenxue, accustomed to the splendor of the hall of worship and daily delicacies, had never witnessed such poverty. She'd even secretly asked Snake Spear Douluo to trade a gold soul coin for a cooked blue-silver grass, only to nearly vomit after taking a bite. Pulling on Qianxunji's sleeve, she asked, "Dad, why are these people working so hard, but still living in such poverty?" Qianxunji replied calmly, "You'll see." Half an hour later, the sun slowly rose, bathing the earth in its light. Outside Soto City, 2 teams of armored soldiers marched in, spears held high. In the center, a tall, handsome young man in his 20s, wearing a luxurious, gold-trimmed robe, walked with confidence. Behind him followed a larger group of soldiers. The young man in robes led the soldiers to the center of the street vendors, surveying the fresh produce with a satisfied nod. Prince DouluoDalu. The farmers murmured, their bodies trembling with fear. DouluoDalu clapped his hands, flashing a practiced aristocratic smile. "Soldiers, buy all these fruits and vegetables," that the soldiers fanned out, ostensibly buying, but in reality, robbing. Some tossed a few copper coins as a pretense, while others simply kicked the stall owners aside and seized the goods. The street vendors wailed and pleaded. Qianrenhan watched the scene, thinking, just as Shrek's Zhao Wuji described the style of the nobles in the Baroque kingdom. Dad, can't we help them? They are so pitiful." Qianrenxue tugged at Qianxunji's sleeve, tears welling in her eyes. These fruits and vegetables were the result of the farmers' hard work. The Baroque kingdom was simply stealing their livelihood, dooming some to starvation. Qianxunji sighed, shaking his head. "No, Xiaoxue. The spirit hall's purpose is to bring peace to the continent. Stopping this would damage our relationship with the Baroque kingdom. Conflict could trigger another continental war. We've finally achieved a truce between Tiando and Xingluo. If war breaks out again, how many will die?" Note, the person who ultimately wanted to start a war and unify the continent was Bibi Dong, not Qian Daolu. He was drawn into it later. The original description of Qianxunji was lacking and unclear. Turning, Qianxunji saw the emotionless, calm gaze of Qianrenhan and asked, "Xiaohan, what do you think? You shouldn't pity these wretches, who are inherently deserving of enslavement." Qianrenhan responded indifferently. "Father, Xiaoxue, you see their oppression, helplessness, and pity, but I see something else. In the eyes of these oppressed people, I see pain, sadness, and despair, but no anger or hatred." Qianrenhan offered a sarcastic smile. "Which means they're used to being oppressed. They accept it as natural for the nobles to exploit them. So why should I sympathize with them?" "Xiaohan, how can you think this way?" Qianxunji asked angrily. It had been 6 years since he was born, and Qianrenhan showed neither respect nor familial affection. Even if he awakened the fallen angel spirit, he could tolerate it and treat him the same as Qianrenxue. But Qianrenhan's outlook on the suffering of the world was insufferable. It went against the martial soul of the angel clan, and the very principles of the clan. In both martial soul and ideology, this son was completely alien to the angel family. This is my honest opinion. A group of worthless people who have been kneeling for so long, who don't know how to resist, don't know how to stand up, who don't even consider resisting, deserve to be exploited, deserve to starve, deserve to be called untouchables. Like that group of people following Tang Hao's power, they naturally think of themselves as slaves, just like dogs. Qianrenhan replied, expressing his genuine feelings, *PS, I think I've written it clearly enough. Douluo people act as if nobles put knives to their necks for no reason. They even think it's natural for nobles to kill them. Resistance is treason. They only hope the nobles show mercy. This is inherently slavish, born to think of themselves as inferior. Chapter 17 Poison to avoid falling into an angel. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Snap! The sound echoed as Qianxunji slapped Qianrenhan, leaving a red mark on his cheek. Brother! Qian Renxue rushed to his side, the slap reminding her of Bibi Dong's harshness just days ago. Young master! They both exclaimed. Snake Spear and Acornfish were stunned. They'd never seen the Pope, usually so gentle, lash out like this. Even when Bibi Dong revealed top-secret information about the angel god's costume and the spirit hall to you, Qianxunji had swallowed his anger time and again. Qianrenhan touched his stinging cheek, a desolate smile touching his lips as he met Qianxunji's unwavering gaze. Were they really so different? Bibi Dong and Qian Renxue were at odds, and now he and Qianxunji were too. Old man, Qianrenhan said, his voice laced with bitterness, you can ask or slap me as many times as you want, my answer won't change. If you want to drag Xiaoxue along for more training, be my guest. In 6 days, I'm heading to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan myself. With that, he summoned the 8-winged fallen angel and shot into the sky, his martial spirit propelling him away. Brother! Qian Renxue cried out, Snake Spear, go after him. Snake Spear was faster and stronger than Acornfish. Plus, being around Qianrenhan in this mood was a recipe for disaster. But Qianrenhan's voice cut through the air, Acornfish, follow me. Snake Spear looked dumbfounded, wondering what he'd done wrong. As Acornfish Douluo trailed behind Qianrenhan, Qianxunji watched the retreating figure inside. Xiaoxue, did your father really mess up? I don't know, Dad, Qian Renxue replied, her face etched with sadness, torn between her father and her brother. Far behind, Acornfish Douluo noticed Qianrenhan wasn't heading towards Spirit Hall. Young master, where are we going? He asked. Sunset Forest, Qianrenhan replied. He had planned to visit Sunset Forest for his second soul ring, but recent events had forced a change of plans. Your second soul ring? Acornfish Douluo was surprised. He'd understood that Qianrenhan was planning to duel certain individuals in order to determine which soul ring to acquire, so why the Soul Beast Forest? Then it dawned on him. Oh, I get it. The young master wants to determine his second soul ring by fighting a powerful beast. Makes sense. I'm so smart. The next day, Acornfish Douluo escorted Qianrenhan to Sunset Forest. As one of the largest spirit beast gathering places, the forest was teeming with opportunity, second only to the Star Do Forest in size. Young master, what kind of soul beast are you planning to challenge? Acornfish Douluo's eagerness left Qianrenhan speechless. Without a word, he released his spirit and flew towards the center of the forest, Acornfish Douluo trailing behind, releasing his tidal Douluo level spirit pressure to ward off attacks from the lesser beasts below. The Sunset Forest wasn't home to any truly powerful soul beasts, otherwise Dugu wouldn't have been able to settle there so easily and create his poisonous barriers. Soon they arrived at a deep valley. Shrouded in a thick, dark green poisonous mist, Acornfish Douluo frowned. Young master, that's the Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor's poison, likely left by Dugu. Dugu became a tidal Douluo at the age of 72. He's only 58 now, so his cultivation should be at peak Soul Saint or early Soul Douluo. The purifying power of the Seraphim can resist most toxins, so my fallen angel has nothing to fear from the Jade Phosphor Snake King's venom. Qianrenhan considered this briefly before extending an arm covered in dark, cold soul power into the poison barrier. Acornfish Douluo gasped. The Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor's venom was lethal, capable of dissolving flesh in seconds. He tried to stop Qianrenhan, but it was too late. As soon as the dark power touched the mist, the poison dissolved into pure soul power, which Qianrenhan absorbed to replenish his energy. Acornfish Douluo frantically grabbed Qianrenhan's arm. Young master, are you okay? I didn't expect my fallen angel's soul power to be so strong, Qianrenhan said with a grin. He hadn't realized that the fallen angel's power would automatically devour and convert any foreign soul power it encountered. The black version of the seraphim spirit was 10 times more powerful than the original. Let go, acorn fish. I'm fine. Acorn fish Douluo reluctantly released Qianrenhan's arm, his pupils widening. He could feel a small portion of his own soul power being absorbed by the dark energy. Just how terrifying was this fallen angel spirit? Qianrenhan coated himself in his dark soul power and stepped into the poison barrier, the venomous mist dissolving around him, leaving behind trails of black-green ice crystals on the ground. Inside the barrier, a dense forest covered the valley floor. A hill rose about 500 meters high. Reaching the summit, Qianrenhan saw an inverted cone-shaped depression. A faint, moist heat radiated from the bottom, dropping into the valley. Qianrenhan finally saw the full scope of the ice and fire eyes. The hot spring wasn't large, but it was divided into 2 distinct sections, the milky white and crimson waters clearly separated, never mixing, the ice and fire eyes, or the ice and fire yin-yang pool. Chapter 18 The Dugu family was the first to receive box lunches in the history of Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ma'am, you're breathtaking, Agony Douluo said, clearly amazed. With its fertile soil, the shimmering herbs blanketing the mountains and valleys, and the ice and fire yin-yang well at its heart, calling this place a paradise on earth wasn't hyperbole. In fact, it was even more stunning than the lake of life in Star Do Forest. As he remembered it, Qianrenhan was also visibly impressed, but his gaze quickly turned to searching for the fairy grass best suited to his martial soul amidst the ice and fire yin-yang well. He cast a fleeting, regretful glance at the octagonal black ice leaf. This fairy grass perfectly aligned with his extreme cold attributes. Unfortunately, it needed to be used in conjunction with the fierce young apricot, an ultimate fire, which was inherently opposed to the fallen angels. Instead of using the fierce young apricot and the octagonal black ice leaf, along with the well's power, to temper his body and obtain soul rings over countless years, he'd rather directly enhance his martial soul, stimulating the evolution of a fairy grass. The angel's standing and power were intimately linked to the number of wings. The strength of gods at different levels couldn't be compensated for by the sheer power of tens of thousands of years of soul rings. Suddenly, a frosty voice cut through the air from a nearby cabin. Who dares trespass on my medicinal garden? Have you forgotten what death feels like? Qianrenhan and Agony Douluo turned to see 4 figures, all tinted green and radiating poisonous fumes. They sported dark green hair and robes, still busily attending to plants. Their eyes, like emeralds, possessed a venomous, serpentine quality, shimmering in the light. A middle-aged man, appearing to be in his 50s, strode out, each step accompanied by the emergence of a soul ring at his feet: yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 8 soul rings encircled him, radiating an undisguised aura of deadly intent. Qianrenhan gave him a dismissive glance and waved his hand casually. Agony, take him out. Qianrenhan knew perfectly well who this was, the future poison Douluo, Dugu, a gatekeeper of a higher order, a walking biochemical weapon. People said he couldn't beat a title Douluo, but if he could, it would only be you. Qianrenhan had no intention of trying to win Dugu over. He wasn't sure how to deal with the toxins coursing through Dugu's body. While he could introduce those toxins into soul bones, as Tang San had suggested, that was a temporary fix. The soul bone was simply a container, just like Dugu's body. And containers eventually filled up. What then? Could you swap them out? Was the spirit hull that rich? And who would even be able to use soul bones saturated with the jade phosphorus serpent emperor's poison? As for tricking Dugu into joining him, Qianrenhan was a fallen angel, not some conniving hypocrite. He wouldn't even bother with such tactics. As you wish, young master, Agony Douluo replied respectfully, sneering at Dugu. Dugu, you're a bold one. How dare you unleash your murderous intent at me and the young master, with your meager soul Douluo cultivation, 0.2 yellow, 3 purple, 4 black, 9 soul rings erupted at Agony Douluo's feet. He morphed into a scarlet giant pufferfish, its body bristling with venomous spines. He shot into the air, opening his bloodied mouth, unleashing a terrifying sucking force. Qianrenhan cautioned, Agony, be careful not to harm the herbs. Understood, young master. Agony Douluo immediately adjusted his aim toward Dugu's cabin. That area had been specifically cleared by Dugu, and the surrounding area had been treated, so it was devoid of herbs. Poison sting, extreme poison, a title Douluo. Dugu was horrified. He had thought it was just a bunch of thieves who'd wandered in by mistake, but it turned out to be a title Douluo. 7th soul skill, martial soul true body. After his initial shock, Dugu immediately summoned all his strength. A giant jade phosphorus snake, nearly 100 meters long, wrapped its tail tightly around the cabin to brace itself, and sprayed venom at the Agony Douluo, but all the venom was consumed by Agony Douluo. He was a poison cultivator. By swallowing and digesting poisons, he turned them into soul power to increase his strength. He also fused the poisons with his own. He was a super powerful soul master who used poison, and a natural enemy of poison attributed soul masters. In the original story, Poison Douluo and Agony Douluo, who were of similar cultivation levels, had fought. Poison Douluo was swallowed by Agony Douluo before he could even hold on for half a minute. Dugu, who was at the level of a contra, was able to hold on for a few seconds. The cabin soon shattered, and Dugu's body flew up. At that moment, Dugu yelled, "No, no, I give up. I give up right now. Please, your majesty, this title Douluo, spare my family." Behind the damaged cabin was a cute little girl, about 4 or 5 years old, with purple hair and green eyes. But the girl's face was full of fear, and she cried, "Grandpa." Next to the little girl was a beautiful middle-aged woman who was still charming, her mother. The two were hugging each other and relying on each other. Dugu was 8 years older than Tang San and 1 year younger than Qianrenhan. Agony Douluo looked at Qianrenhan questioningly. The spirit hall's thought was, it would not harm his family, otherwise, the single attribute 4 cannon fodder used by the original Haotian sect to block the gun would have died long ago, and not even the scum would be left. Qianrenhan continued to wave his hand to express his agreement. He only knew how to cut the weeds by rooting them out. He even cut the earthworms in half, and the eggs had to be shaken to turn yellow. "I'm sorry, Dugu. I wanted to spare your daughter-in-law and granddaughter's lives, but the young master spoke, and I have no choice but to obey." Agony Douluo gave full power, and soon all 3 of Dugu's family were killed by him. "Swallow it into your belly and digest it." At the last moment when he was swallowed into his belly, Dugu roared crazily, "Spirit Hall, I curse you to a bad death. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." Agony Douluo's voice as young master made Dugu recognize the identities of the 2 Spirit Hall members. Apart from Spirit Hall, who else in the world would be called the next leader, and all sects in the world would be called young sect leaders? After swallowing 3 members of Dugu's family, Agony Douluo burped and began to digest the 3 people in his belly. Half an hour later, a piece of head soul bone shining with forest white light was spat out from the mouth of Agony Douluo. He arrived in front of Qianrenhan and said, "Young master, this is the soul bone owned by Dugu. It should be 10,000 years old, a Medusa skull." Qianrenhan's eyes flickered. The 10,000-year-old head soul bone was priceless treasure. It was one of the sect's treasures. If it were thrown into the soul master world, it would definitely lead to bloodshed. Since Agony Douluo chose to give it to him instead of keeping it for himself, even if you dare not absorb it for fear of being discovered, you can still live a happy life by secretly auctioning it off. You earned that soul bone by killing Dugu. It's your call what happens to it, Qianrenhan said after a moment. The long-range Medusa's gaze petrification attack was a great thing for those who lacked powerful attacks. And it would be a relatively strong match for Agony Douluo's build. Agony Douluo was overjoyed and said, "Thank you, young master." Chapter 19 God's Attention. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Elephant Douluo spoke up again, kid, should I go ahead and clear out those poisonous fumes Dugu left hanging around outside? Whatever, Qianrenhan replied, still busy picking out the best fairy grass. With all the residual dragon power and the dragon's remains here, no soul beast dared to come close. Douluo was pumped. The Dugu family had that jade phosphorus snake king poison coursing through their veins, plus he'd picked up a 1,000-year-old Medusa skull. If he could just absorb all that poison lingering outside the valley, he figured he could break through level 92. As they say, every level for a titled Douluo is a monumental leap, a huge power boost. The elephant Douluo transformed his feet into a giant pufferfish again, soaring into the air and opening his gaping maw, inhaling all the poisonous gas in the valley like a whale gulping water. After about 10 minutes, Qianrenhan, having scoured every inch of the ice and fire eyes, finally located the perfect fairy grass for himself, the netherworld flower and the black ice dark grass. One had a dark death vibe, the other a chilling coldness. Too bad there wasn't a trace of evil, though. Douluo stood beside Qianrenhan, eyeing the two plants in his hands with a wary expression. It didn't make sense to him why he'd be afraid of a couple of plants. Boss, those things are dangerous. You should probably destroy them. Try reading a book sometime. You'd realize how dumb that sounds. These herbs are the most precious treasures in the whole damn land. Then, following the book's instructions, Qianrenhan swallowed both fairy grasses whole and sat down, crossing his legs. As the 8-winged fallen angel martial soul manifested, an endless wave of darkness and icy energy surged from the two fairy grasses inside him. The wings on the fallen angel expanded, and their energy kept rising, as if overjoyed. The frigid aura from the black ice dark grass was so intense that it froze Qianrenhan's dark clothes solid, just like how Dugu's toxic barrier turned into tiny ice crystals when he first arrived. The elephant Douluo stood guard, his initial fear giving way to calm curiosity. He didn't know what those herbs were, but he could feel Qianrenhan getting stronger. Half a day later, Qianrenhan slowly opened his eyes. The ice encasing his clothes had dissolved into pure energy, absorbed by the fallen angel martial soul. He frowned slightly, realizing he wasn't quite there yet. He was still one step away from evolving the fallen angel martial soul. It wasn't improving properly. The netherworld flower and black ice dark grass boosted the ultimate darkness and extreme cold of the fallen angel martial soul to a whole new level. If it were a single ultimate martial spirit, that meant the martial soul had evolved. But for the fallen angel martial soul to evolve, all three ultimate attributes had to reach the same level. The evil attribute had to catch up with darkness and coldness, or the fallen angel martial soul won't evolve to the next stage. The elephant Douluo asked, "You okay, boss?" "I'm fine. Go do your thing." "I'm going to gather all these herbs," Qianrenhan replied, pulling out a bunch of tools and meticulously harvesting the grass jelly. He wasn't about to trust this task to some amateur like Douluo. He picked everything, the wonderful velvet to the sky chrysanthemum, 8-petal fairy orchid, 9-grade purple mushroom, golden sun grass, bright paradise grass, earth dragon golden melon. Not a single fairy grass escaped Qianrenhan's grasp. He stashed all the herbs that carried the dark and death aura into a storage soul device to prevent that idiot Qianxunji from handing them over to Bibi Dong. As long as he didn't lay the foundation for fairy grass that strengthened the origin of the martial soul, like the 8-petal fairy orchid that strengthened the soul and cultivated the soul, it's no big deal. Bibi Dong is already an 80-level Contra. So what's the use of strengthening the soul and cultivating the soul now? He wouldn't accept Bibi Dong's gifts, and he wouldn't give any of these fairy grasses that contained the aura of darkness and death to Bibi Dong. What would that accomplish for her? Would she become stronger and destroy the angel clan? Kill Qianxunji? Even if Qianxunji slapped him, Qianrenxue and even the 6 major worshippers are far away from him. This does not mean that he will bear hatred towards them. Qianrenhan walked over to a snow-white fairy grass. It was crystal white, with every blade looking like it was dripping with water. It was slender and curved, resembling a swan's neck. The snow swan kiss stimulated toxins, amplifying any poison it touched 1,000-fold. Bibi Dong was, without a doubt, the perfect candidate for this herb, thanks to her death spider emperor poison. As the most potent poison in the world, even the jade phosphorus snake emperor poison was small potatoes compared to it. If Bibi Dong got her hands on it, anyone who crossed her would be dead. Even the seraphim probably couldn't purify that kind of poison, but the basic principle remains the same. Take this, Qianrenhan said, digging up the snow-colored swan kiss and tossing it to Elephant Douluo. Elephant Douluo's eyes widened as he caught it carefully. He had just witnessed the power of those small herbs. How should I take it, boss? Elephant Douluo asked. Qianrenhan paused for a moment. Try chewing on a leaf first. If you're still breathing, eat the whole thing. Understood, boss. 0.5 days had passed. Qianrenhan, who spent 2 days being a gardener and 3 days enjoying the scenery of the ice and fire eyes, flew towards Qiando City. Tomorrow was the day to show those blue lightning tyrant dragon sect geniuses what he's made of. Elder Aegis was close beside him. At this point, Elephant Douluo's cultivation had reached level 93. Thanks to the snow swan kiss, unimaginable toxins had built up in his system. If Dugu could wipe out a city at full power, Elephant Douluo could probably turn thousands of square miles into a wasteland. As soon as he left the ice and fire eyes and lost the energy isolation of the ice and fire dragon king, there was an ethereal fairy air in the sky above the Douluo continent. The soft halo was like a mother's hand, gently touching the delicate skin of the clouds. There was an abnormality in the illusory space. A moving sense of substance. Faintly, not far away, there seemed to be a majestic palace, illusory and real under the touch of this soft halo. In the palace, there is a man dressed in black, handsome, with dark eyes like an abyss, capable of swallowing everything in the world. There is no doubt that this is the legendary 100-level god. The handsome man held his head and watched Qianrenhan flying towards Qiando City on Douluo continent with great interest. Fallen angel. I didn't expect that the angel clan would give birth to such a heterogeneous species, such a deep and powerful extreme darkness. If you reach my position, you should be able to compete with the God King with this darkness, and with the other 2 attributes, can definitely reach the strength of the first person under the God King. The handsome man pointed his finger at Qianrenhan, and dark divine power flowed out, saying, "Little guy, you are the one to choose. Don't disgrace my god's position in the future." At this moment, Qianrenhan, who was flying towards Qiando City, was completely unaware of the dark mark that suddenly appeared and then disappeared on his forehead. Chapter 20 Competition among the younger generation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In Qiando City, at a 5-star hotel, Qian Renxue sensed Qianrenhan's fallen angel aura outside the door. She quickly opened it and threw herself into his arms. "Brother, where have you been the last 6 days? Dad's been frantic trying to find you." Since the Ice and Fire Dragon King's burial ground, the Ice and Fire Eyes, block sensing abilities, Qianxunji couldn't pick up Qianrenhan's aura. "Just preparing a little surprise for you," Qianrenhan said, patting Qian Renxue's head. His voice was calm, but held a hint of affection. "Xiaohan, you." Qianxunji stared at Qianrenhan, his pupils shrinking. In just 6 days, the darkness and coldness of Qianrenhan's martial soul had intensified to an alarming degree. Before, the Seraphim's light could barely hold its own, but now it would be completely overwhelmed. Qianrenhan's soul guide flashed, and a Qianquan bag materialized in Qianxunji's hands. "Here, old man, distribute the fairy grass however you like." "I don't need it." "What? Immortal grass." As soon as Qianxunji channeled his spiritual power into the Qianquan bag, he felt overwhelmed by the sudden wealth. Douluo, from the Elders' Hall, had joined the Spirit Hall to find fairy grass, but after years of searching, hadn't even found a leaf. He'd definitely read the books on fairy grass. Outside the hotel, Snake Spear Douluo was stunned. "Damn, stab blood, what did you do? How did you level up twice in just a few days?" He. Agouti grinned, hooking his snake spear over his shoulder. "Shi Long, you wouldn't believe it. The last 6 days blew my mind. I thought a tidal Douluo was the pinnacle of this continent. Well, it is, but my knowledge was clearly lacking. I'm telling you. Agony Douluo recounted the past few days' events. Snake Spear Douluo's eyes widened, practically bloodshot as he listened. A 10,000-year head soul bone, immortal herbs, priceless treasures. If he'd known, he would have clung to the young master and begged to go. Shilong, the young master gave the fairy grass to the Pope. You should ask the Pope if you can have one. If not, I'll help you request it. With my current strength, I can confidently say I'm unbeatable below the titled rank. And if I changed my title, I'd be the #1 poison Douluo on the continent. Array Douluo clapped Snake Spear Douluo on the shoulder. He had a dark-type fairy grass that Qianrenhan instructed him to give to the ghost elder. Qianrenhan no longer had darkness, but needed herbs. Stick blood, you're the best. Snake Spear was touched. Back in the hotel room, Qian Renxue tugged on Qianrenhan's arm. Brother, what fairy grass did you bring me? This. Qianrenhan smiled. His soul guide lit up, revealing a fairy grass radiating a holy aura and another exuding fiery energy. Brilliant light sacred grass and golden fierce sun grass, one with sacred attributes, the other with flame attributes. I chose these specifically for you. Take them. Qianrenhan handed over the 2 herbs. One person can take at most 2. The seraphim's flames weren't at their peak, so here was golden sun grass, which has sacred and bright attributes. There are many soul beasts with light attributes, so he chose the sacred attribute of fierce light sacred grass. You're the best, brother. Qian Renxue stood on tiptoe and pecked Qianrenhan on the cheek. She grabbed the 2 fairy grasses and sat on the bed, ready to absorb them. Qianrenhan paused. You know how to take these, right? Yup. Qian Renxue took the herbs and crossed her legs to refine them. Qianrenhan left the room, closed the door, and sat nearby. He wouldn't take the golden sun grass to strengthen the flames. He was no perv and had no interest in some girl's body, especially his sister. Just then, Qianxunji approached. My child, I'm sorry about the other day. Don't apologize to me. We don't see eye to eye, so just leave me alone from now on. You're Xiaoshue's protector. Qianrenhan said calmly, then got up and walked to his room. The next morning, Qianxunji held Qianrenxue's hand. Qianrenhan stood at arm's length, trying to keep his distance from Qianxunji. After absorbing the fairy grass yesterday, Qianrenxue's martial soul evolved into a 6-winged seraph, and the angel's flame was upgraded to ultimate fire. The angel's 3 attributes, flame and light levels, are 1 level higher than sacred, which is the same as Qianrenhan's. Evil attribute level, Qianxunji said, Xiaoxue, before you go to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, I have to seal your first level soul power. A fight with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect would reveal that the Qian family's angel martial soul starts with innate soul power 10 levels higher than other martial souls. Best to conceal your talent as much as possible. Qian Renxue didn't question Qianxunji. Okay, daddy. I don't need it. Qianrenhan looked at Qianxunji's questioning gaze. His first soul ring was 1,000 years old, which would draw attention. If they learned his innate soul power and martial soul level were higher than Qian Renxue's, everyone would focus on him. Qianxunji nodded and tapped Qian Renxue a few times, reducing her soul power from level 20 to level 19. Then, the 5 flew towards the Blue Lightning Overlord Dragon sect. The Blue Lightning Overlord Dragon sect was in Thunder Canyon, near Tiando City, Qibao Glazed sect, and Haotian sect. The 3 sects were aligned against the Spirit Hall. An attack on one would give the others time to offer support. The Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family had a temporary competition platform, and seating for spectators on either side. Besides the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, the Haotian sect, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, Prince Snow Star of the Tiando Empire, and almost everyone prominent in the Soul Master world attended. The 4 Elements Academy of the Tiando Empire also came. The Kamikaze College Dean brought Feng Xiaotian, the Dean of Qihua College brought Huo Wushuang and Huo Wu. Before the Tang dynasty, the Spirit Hall was the undisputed overlord of the mainland, and nothing rivaled it. Qianxunji was hailed as a genius of the Spirit Hall, reaching title Douluo at 50. This generation of Qian family descendants affected everyone. Sitting on the main seat was Yu Yuanjin's father, Yu Longchen. Ning Fengji and Sword Douluo sat to his left, Tang Xiao to his right. Tang Xiao's father was seriously ill and dying. As the second most powerful in the Haotian sect and an 89th level contra, Tang Xiao came. The Wuhun Palace had to compete with the younger generation. Showing off the muscles of Qian family's generation, it is impossible to only target the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. The Haotian sect is probably one of the targets. Instead of sitting back and waiting for death, it is better to take the initiative.